the Bulls have in the corner. Jordan lost it by Murray. Pippen is driving in, and the basket counts for the foul. Scottie Pippen.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA legends talking about Scottie Pippen. And this episode is kind of important to me because, totally honest, I personally obviously have a problem with a lot of the stuff that Scottie Pippen has been saying in the past couple of months and maybe years, especially the stuff about Michael Jordan. But on the other hand, I also want to make sure that people don't forget that there is a difference between Scottie Pippen the person, especially the Pippen the person nowadays, and Pippen the player. And yeah, I just want to show you guys some clips of NBA players who actually talk great about how good Scottie Pippen really was back in the days. But before we start with that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoy the content. And I would say, let's do it. Now the first clip that I found, hopefully you haven't seen that one before, is Gilbert Arenas talking about Scottie Pippen and his Dream Team performance. Pretty interesting. Gilbert Arenas has a lot of respect for Pippen. Let's take a look what he has to say.
Even though, you have a guy who can give you 30 and carry the team, you're like, I don't really need that because I can just have 4 of this and they can make sure, like Scottie Pippen. People didn't realize on the USA team, he led the team in assists. Wasn't Magic. Wasn't John Stockton. It wasn't the 2 best point guards in the world. It was Scottie Pippen. He was the most valuable because he's the one that's getting the ball from out of Jordan's hand to a Barkley, from Barkley to a Mullen, from Mullen to a David Robinson. So he's the one that's making sure all these guys, and he sacrificed himself, but he's the most valuable on the team.
And the next clip that we're going to take a look at is a very interesting one. It is Isiah Thomas. Now, we all know that Isiah Thomas and Scottie Pippen always had a terrible relationship. And for whatever reason, over the past 12 months, Isiah Thomas kind of started saying nice things about Scottie Pippen. I will leave it up to you to decide why he does that. But let's take a look at what he has to say about Pippen.
As a defender, right, he don't get enough credit. And when we talk about probably the greatest and the best defender that's ever played in the NBA, Chicago had 2 of them, Rodman and Scottie Pippen. But Scottie was different. As a defender, at his best, I may have to say that he and Rodman 1 and 2 best defenders probably ever to play the game.
Wow.
And so I do want to give him his respect and his props and then as a facilitator, Scottie, he was the real deal.
He was a great.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Scottie was one of my all-time favorite teammates because he was really a point guard in a 6'8", long-armed, long-limbed body, just with incredible athleticism. So to play with him made the game so much easier for me. He would always be looking for me, finding me open shots, covering up for me defensively. If I made a mistake, I knew he was always going to be there. One of the smartest, most unselfish players I was ever around, and just a champion in every way.
Scottie was an incredible player. There were only a couple guys that were bigger than me that I was uncomfortable when they guarded me. And Scottie was one of those guys. 6'8", he was long, he had incredible lateral quickness. His defensive instincts, I would marvel at. I really got even more of an appreciation for it when we were teammates in Portland, and then you got to see why he ultimately became the kind of player he did.
Okay, well, one of the things that John's always said on my show that usually gets people upset is based on his experience. He said that Scottie Pippen is the most skilled player he's ever worked with, not Jordan.
Funny thing is, I think Scottie is more skilled than all of them. Scottie Pippen is probably the most skilled player I've ever played with.
Really?
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
That's tough because you know what? I said it earlier in the interview. I keep saying this. I said, thank God Michael Jordan got Scottie Pippen. You know, because Michael couldn't do it by himself. Michael scoring 40 points a game, and Scottie came in and just filled in the blank and just made him just like a major superstar.
Whenever they speak Michael Jordan, they should speak Scottie Pippen. Pippen became my focal point.
More than any other player, Scottie benefited from playing with Michael Jordan because Scottie had this raw athletic ability. What he didn't have was what Michael brought every day.
The thing about Pip is, you know, if you stand next to him, you make him stronger. All of the short times when Rodman wanted to pick on him, he needed someone there to stand there and say, look, I'll fight with you, just fight. I would never be able to find a tandem, another support system, another partner in the game of basketball like Scottie Pippen. He was a pleasure to play with. When everybody says, well, I won all these championships, but I didn't win without Scottie Pippen. And, you know, that's why I consider him my best teammate of all time.
A lot of the world didn't know what kind of athlete he was. From Central Arkansas, a little small town. I knew he was that talented. If he wanted to score 20, he scored 20. If he wanted to stop you from scoring a bucket, he stopped you from scoring a bucket. His mindset was that.
Just, I think his versatility at that length, at that size, I mean, 6'8", 6'9", can play the point forward, knock down threes, can rebound the ball and push it up. First team all defensive guy. I mean, another guy that a complete game. I don't think you could point to one part of Scottie's game and say, well, that was his weakness and he couldn't do that. I mean, even when he came in the league and he wasn't a great shooter right away, by the time he retired, he was a Hall of Fame shooter. He knocked shots down. So Scottie did everything on the court.
Scottie Pippen, how he was underpaid, underappreciated by a lot of people. For fans who are too young to have seen Scottie play and just think of him as this Michael Jordan sidekick, what's your best way to explain to them just how good Scottie actually was?
Well, he was the best defensive player in the league by far. But on top of all that, you know, I think this documentary is showing how tough Michael was on his teammates. Scottie was sort of the counterbalance to that. He was the one who made us all feel comfortable and confident. He was beloved on that team. He was such an incredible teammate and an incredible player. And it was just amazing to watch him work every single night and to play with him. Being on the floor with him was so much fun.
Smitty, it's crazy to think that a guy that came from such a little school and wasn't really on many teams' radar was able to win 6 championships and be one of the 50 and 75 greatest of all time.
Unbelievable hard worker. A guy, like you said, won 6 championships. But I think even more importantly, obviously championships are, but on an all defensive team 10 times. Got a chance to play one of the greatest teams ever. And then I got the opportunity to play with him in Portland. So it was a treat getting a chance to play with him because all those years we had those battles. And a guy that could really guard 1 through 5 and really took the challenge.
Yeah, known for his defensive ability, but throughout his career at different times, he was able to carry the mantle offensively and evolve that part of his game.
You know, I think when Michael got a chance to retire, you got a chance to see Scottie Pippen's offensive game. He was a great teammate, a great guy, and I'll never forget playing with and against Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen, the only guy I'm jealous of in my whole life, because he was picked 1 pick ahead of me, and I wanted to go and play with Michael Jordan at that time. So I was like, man, I wanted that spot. Scottie, you know, his ability to be the consummate all-around Boy Scout knife. He had every tool. You know, he had to, just pulls it out. You know, you need a screwdriver, you need a wrench, You need it. He had all of the tools.
So, as I said in the beginning of the video, now obviously I have a problem with the stuff that Scottie Pippen has been saying about Michael Jordan and some other things in the past couple of months. But I also understand that the whole situation is not easy, especially since Michael Jordan's son is dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. I mean, come on, that is just a terrible situation. But to me, as a hardcore Chicago Bulls fan from back in the days, we have to see the things separate. Scottie Pippen, the player, and Scottie Pippen, the person, and the stuff that he's been saying. I think he's bitter, and there are some things that I also understand. I understand that Scottie Pippen is disappointed with his portrayal in the Last Dance documentary. I obviously understand that it's a super weird situation for him to have his ex-wife dating Michael Jordan's son and so on. And I also understand that Scottie Pippen would like to have more recognition, which he deserved. I mean, there's not even a question. Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest players of all time. But still, it's kind of hard to stomach those things that he's been saying about Michael Jordan. Anyway, Scottie Pippen, the player, was great. So Scottie, that video was for you. And for you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.